So we start with some breaking news this hour. In the last few minutes, the Office for National Statistics has released their monthly inflation data, and we've seen a drop. It's gone down to 3.2% for February, down from 3.4%. Sorry, for March, down from 3.2% in February. So, Lynn Halligan, this is good news, and lots of questions, I suppose, will be sparked about whether this could lead to interest rate cuts in the summer.
It is good news, Isabel, because it's going in the right direction. Inflation is coming down. The cost of living squeeze is easing, at least in terms of the headline numbers, though we know, of course, it's not for many people in their real lives. But I must say, this drop in inflation is less than was expected. This drop in inflation is actually quite small. We've got two things going on at the moment. This reduction in inflation in the UK being less than expected, plus the fact that inflation in the US was much higher than expected. It's 3.5%.
What's driving it in the US?
In the US, it's mainly, I would say, oil prices. This is something I've been talking about for several months, that oil prices are going to come back high, geopolitical risk. That means that inflation is stubbornly high, and that means, I'm afraid, that interest rates in the US, and thus the interest rates in the UK, are less likely to be cut anytime soon than they previously were. These inflation numbers are stubborn, and that's going to cramp the style of the central banks when it comes to cutting rates.
And this is why this, escalation of tensions in the Middle East matters to all of us here, because yesterday we saw the FTSE having its biggest wobble since July last year, worrying about everything happening there, and we're also seeing risks to food prices going up again.
We have indeed. The British political scene is assuming still that inflation is going to come down, interest rates are going to come down, and it makes sense for the Tories to delay the election as long as they can, as some kind of economic feel-good factor comes through. But guess what? It's the economy, stupid, as it always is. These economic numbers are stubbornly high in terms of inflation, and making life difficult for the Conservative government. The Bank of England will next decide on interest rates on May the 9th. So there's a few weeks to go yet. But on these numbers, there is no way we're going to see an interest rate cut in May, and probably not in June either, unless things change, because inflation is being pushed up by geopolitical tensions. These events are happening many, many miles away, but they impact us here in the UK through that mechanism.
OK, well, you go away and mull over those figures, and we'll talk again later on in the programme. Liam Halligan, thank you very much.